Hello everyone, welcome back to Stock Market Meridian. Today is 23rd July 2026 and you're watching today's pre-market report. Let's begin with the global markets. Starting with the US markets, the major indices closed with a neutral to negative sentiment. The Nasdaq in particular closed on the negative side as AI and semiconductor stocks remained under pressure. Coming to the European markets, the major indices closed strongly in positive territory. And looking at the Asian markets, Japan, China and South Korea are currently trading with a neutral to positive sentiment. So overall, global markets are indicating a slightly positive sentiment this morning. Now let's move to commodities. US WTI crude oil is currently trading around $86 to $88 per barrel, while Brent crude is trading near $89 to $91 per barrel. Yesterday, Indian crude oil futures closed with gains of around 3.2%, while natural gas futures ended nearly 3% higher. Coming to precious metals, Indian gold futures closed around 2% higher yesterday, while international gold futures are currently trading on the lower side. Indian silver futures closed with gains of around 1.4%, while international silver futures are also trading lower. So volatility continues across both the energy and precious metal segments.
Now coming to GIFT Nifty. Yesterday, GIFT Nifty closed around the 23,890 level and today it has also opened near the same level. This indicates that the Indian markets could see a flat to slightly gap down opening today. Now let's check the ADR data. Yesterday, all the major ADRs we track, including Wipro, ICICI Bank, Infosys, HDFC Bank, Reliance and Dr. Reddy's Laboratories closed on the negative side. Dr. Reddy's Laboratories was the major loser, falling around 9.4% following its weak quarterly results. So overall, ADR data is indicating weak sentiment for Indian stocks. Now moving to FII and DII data. Yesterday, institutional activity remained relatively weak and importantly, both FIIs and DIIs were on the selling side. FIIs were net sellers of approximately 819 crore rupees, while DIIs were also net sellers of around 418 crore rupees. So institutional activity is indicating neutral to negative and cautious sentiment. Now let's check the economic calendar. Yesterday, UK CPI inflation came in weaker than expected and was also below the previous level. The Bank of England's inflation target is around 2% with a tolerance range of 1 percentage point on either side. Next, US crude oil inventory data came broadly in line with expectations. Coming to today, the European Central Bank's interest rate decision and other important updates will be in focus. Along with that, US initial jobless claims data will also be released today.
And tomorrow, we have several important economic data points. India's services and manufacturing PMI data and foreign exchange reserves data are scheduled for release. India's services and manufacturing PMI data and foreign exchange reserves data are scheduled for release. From the US, services and manufacturing PMI data along with new home sales data will also be released. From the US, services and manufacturing PMI data along with new home sales data will also be released. So keep an eye on these economic events because they could influence market sentiment. Before moving further, a quick reminder. I upload pre-market reports every morning before the market opens and post-market reports every evening after the market closes. So if you don't want to miss important market updates, make sure you stay connected with Stock Market Meridian. Now let's look at the major geopolitical updates. Tensions between the United States and Iran continue to remain a major risk for global markets, especially crude oil. US President Donald Trump has laid out a direct one-for-one retaliatory policy against Iranian infrastructure. He stated that whenever Iran attacks a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether through missiles, drones or rockets, the US could retaliate by targeting Iranian infrastructure such as bridges or power plants. He also indicated that such targets could include infrastructure in or around Tehran.
Trump further stated that the United States does not depend heavily on the Strait of Hormuz and highlighted alternative oil suppliers, including Venezuela. But Iran has responded with strong warnings. Iranian military officials have warned that if the US attacks Iranian bridges or power facilities, Tehran could retaliate against regional infrastructure and energy facilities linked to the United States and its allies. Iranian officials have also warned about potentially disrupting electricity supplies and targeting economic infrastructure across the region. More importantly for global markets, Iranian military officials have threatened broader disruption to Gulf oil flows if Washington follows through with its threats. There have also been warnings about risks to commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. With both sides threatening critical infrastructure and regional energy facilities, crude oil remains one of the biggest risks for global markets. Following the escalation in rhetoric, Brent crude reportedly surged above $94 per barrel. So investors should closely monitor crude oil prices and developments in the Strait of Hormuz throughout today's session. Now coming to company quarterly results. First, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories posted a weak set of quarterly numbers. On a year-on-year basis, the major parameters declined. However, on a quarter-on-quarter basis, the company showed improvement, particularly in net profit, which increased sharply. But for the pharmaceutical business, year-on-year performance is generally more important when evaluating the underlying business trend. And based on that comparison, these were a weak set of numbers from Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. Next, United Spirits posted relatively flat to disappointing results. Revenue, net profit, and net profit margin declined on a quarter-on-quarter basis. However, several of the remaining parameters showed improvement on both year-on-year and quarter-on-quarter comparisons. Overall, the numbers appear somewhat disappointing. Next, HPCL posted weak numbers, particularly in net profit, EBITDA, and margins. The company continues to face pressure amid elevated crude oil prices and ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. So overall, HPCL reported a weak set of numbers. Bharat Petroleum also posted weak results. As you can see on your screen, several key parameters indicate pressure on the company's quarterly performance. So BPCL could also remain in focus during today's trading session.
Next, NTPC Green Energy. Revenue, EBITDA, and net profit improved on both a year-on-year and quarter-on-quarter basis. However, margins declined on a quarter-on-quarter basis. So overall, I would consider NTPC Green Energy's results relatively flat to mixed. Next, IndusInd Bank posted a good set of results. Revenue declined on a year-on-year basis, but most of the remaining parameters showed strong improvement on both yearly and quarterly comparisons. So overall, the numbers indicate an improvement in business performance. Next, GSW Energy. Revenue, EBITDA, and EBITDA margin improved strongly on a quarter-on-quarter basis, although year-on-year growth remained relatively limited. At the same time, net profit and net profit margin declined. So overall, these were mixed to weak results from GSW Energy. And finally, Oracle Financial Services Software posted a very strong set of results. All the major parameters improved on both a year-on-year and quarter-on-quarter basis. Overall, the numbers indicate strong business growth momentum. Now, on your screen, you can see the list of companies scheduled to announce their quarterly results today. These stocks are expected to remain in focus throughout today's trading session. So be cautious while trading in these stocks today. If possible, avoid taking aggressive trades around the earnings announcements because result-related volatility can remain high. That's all for today's pre-market report. Overall, global market sentiment is slightly positive, but there are some important risk factors we need to watch. Crude oil prices remain elevated, ADR sentiment is weak, both FIIs and DIIs were net sellers, and US-Iran tensions continue to create uncertainty around the Strait of Hormuz. So keep an eye on these factors when the Indian market opens today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Stock Market Meridian. And I'll see you again this evening with today's post-market report. Thank you for watching. Signing off, bye-bye, Jai Hind.